What up, YouTube? It's Misery, it's Company. We are back with another Warcraft Rumble video. Now, before we cover the massive bomb that was just dropped, which is going to be Season 7 of Warcraft Rumble, I do want to say thank you so much to Warcraft Rumble for sponsoring today's video and the overall channel. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I cannot wait to cover everything that is coming in Season 7, and more importantly, explain everything coming in great detail to you guys right now. Let's get straight to it. So if you haven't already seen it on the official Warcraft Rumble site, they have announced the biggest drop ever coming to Season 7, which is boom, a brand new family. And not even just a brand new family. Let me go over here so you can see it better. It's the Cenarian family. So we are getting 2 new leaders, 3 minis, all at the same time. Literally never heard of before. Now, we've gotten some Cenarian, both minis and spells already, but now we're getting 2 leaders and 3 additional troops, which I could not be happier about. Which, if you do the math, that means you have 1 leader, 3 on top, what? 3, do we have enough to fill it out? I think we have enough to actually fill out a full actual like army now, or deck, if you will. So I can't wait for it. I do want to cover so much more of this, guys. We're going to break down each individual, both the 2 leaders as well as the minis and what they're included. But the most important thing to note is that this is going to launch in just about a week's time, actually, which is super sick. It's going to come out on July 10th. And with this, we are getting, like I said, 2 new minis, 3 troops, and we're getting the brand new campaign, Moonglade. We've seen it at the top. We've been ready to play it. It just hasn't been ready. And I think this is going to be so awesome. It's going to be a nice little gold surge for everyone because obviously when a new campaign comes out, you actually have the ability of, clearing all those stages and getting new gold. They also are changing how the campaign clearing works for Moonglade, which we're also going to cover in today's video. Guys, if you can't tell, I'm super excited to be playing Warcraft Rumble in Season 7 and just in general. So if you want to join me, make sure you use the link in the description of this video and in the pinned comment, fun fact, to download Warcraft Rumble completely for free. Because in this video, guys, I'm going to show you exactly how you can unlock all the new leaders, all the new troops, completely for free. All right, so here is the fact sheet that I'm going to be utilizing to cover everything that is coming in terms of the new leaders. So first things first, we have Cenarius. Let me actually move my camera over here so I'm out of the way. We'll bounce around the camera so I'm not covering up what I'm talking about. But the first thing we're talking about is the first boss, which is going to be Cenarius. His deploy cost is 5 gold, which is pretty average, a little expensive. And that's one thing we're going to note with a lot of these units is that they're a little on the expensive side, especially if you consider what we already have for them. So, but with great cost comes great power, right? So let's go ahead and get straight to it. So we got 600 health, 95 damage. Damage type is elemental, and he does single target. Attack cooldown is 1.6. His range is 8. Healing AoE size, because he actually is going to be doing a huge AoE that just follows him, which we'll have a little bit of gameplay. I'll show you guys here in a second. But the really cool part is that he focuses on sort of defense and healing, which is sort of like the way of this new family, which is actually pretty sick. It's all control based. So keep your units alive in order to do more damage. You can't do damage if they're dead. So, all right. So Cenarius' passive, his leader passive, is all about sustaining control. So what he's actually going to be doing is giving all units nearby 20% additional health if they are part of the Cenarian family or just the minis in general. Now, that's going to make him really, really good for a full Cenarian deck, right? But that's not all. In his AoE, which again we'll cover in a video here in a second, he actually roots enemies and heals allies. So he walks pretty slow and he just heals his allies as you get like a sort of like a murder ball that progresses up the field, but also roots people or other enemies who come in that circle. So he is keeping your units alive, he's making them tankier, and he's also holding your enemies in their tracks so you can either hunt them down and or just punish them. Now, in terms of his talents, make sure, so his healing amount is 25 healing slash per 1.5 seconds. His movement speed is 2, which again, which we're going to show in the video, but it is a little bit slower. It's considered medium speed. His root radius is 8, and his root duration is 3 seconds, which is actually pretty sick. It's a pretty long duration for a passive. Now, for his talents, he has Force of Nature, which summons a Trinit when a rooted enemy dies. His next one is Revitalize, so all allies entering Tranquility, which is the aura around him, triggers an additional healing pulse. So as they enter, there's an additional healing pulse as they enter it. So if you want to really use him as like a sort of main healer, you can do that. Last but not least, he does have Wild Growth, which is on deploy, root all enemies for 5 seconds. So as he enters the battlefield, he roots all enemies. Now, it's unclear if that is all over the battlefield, because that's a little crazy, or just like near him. Now, obviously, we will test this out with great detail once he is fully out and ready to be utilized. But just at first glance, for a 5 gold cost, he's pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie, he's pretty awesome. But he's not the only leader that we have. We also have Onu, which I really hope I'm saying his name right, because if you guys don't know, I have the worst track record of saying names incorrectly. So he is a massive just tank. He's right here. He costs 6 gold. He has 3k health. Okay, so he is a tanky boy. He does 190 damage, physical single target, attack cooldown is 2.5, range is melee, and he is considered very slow. Now, if we look at his passive, so this is where things get a little interesting. So he actually serves as a mobile deploy zone. So you will be able to deploy your minis around him or near him while he moves up the battlefield. So while he's slow, you can literally just make your ball to go with him. Now, in addition to that, he also has the ability called Safe Arbor, which allows the player to deploy their minis wherever Ono is. Ono also blocks enemy unbound deployable units near him. So you're unable, as if you're going against Onu, to actually drop your unbound units on top of him. So you literally have a sort of a safe space, if you will, that you can summon units freely without having them, get hit by enemies right away, or just having, like imagine whelp eggs being under you and then, Onu just summons a bunch of people, or, you drop people on Onu and then they just immediately die. He helps prevent that. So it's going to be, you actually have to use a little bit more tactics to save him. Now, my question would be such as a blizzard or spells. I wonder how spells will work. I assume that spells will still be viable in this situation. So I'm sure you can still drop a blizzard on Onu and handle it that way in terms of countering him. But again, he's there's so much strategy that comes with these new leaders. It's dramatically changing the game already, and they're not even here yet. So I very much look forward to coming up with different builds for you guys, different decks that will utilize these new leaders. But the minis are just as cool. So before we go on to the new minis, though, let's talk about Onu a little bit more. He has the 3 talents, of course. So Bark Skin, Safe Arbor also grants armor for 8 seconds. So as you summon an ally, they also get armor for 8 seconds once they are deployed near Onu, which is sick. And then we also have Safe Arbor persists for 8 seconds after death. So Onu, once he passes away and goes on to Moonglade, you'll have 8 seconds of being able to continually to spawn on top of it. So let's say you push your units to a certain point, Onu dies, and you're like, oh no, I have enough gold, I can still finish this push off, and maybe you're near a tower or whatever. You can still do that for 8 seconds if you get this talent. Last but not least is the talent called From the Trees. So minis deployed in the Safe Arbor deal double damage as soon as on their first attack. So as you summon people on Onu, they will deal double damage the first attack. So again, if he gets to the point where he's near a tower and then you drop all your units and sort of just burst them down, you could potentially just take a tower out in one quick sweep. That's awesome. All right, now for the first mini, we have Ancient of War. Deploy cost varies because it consumes all your current gold. Now, what does that do? I'm happy to answer that for you. So what he does is he's a flexible cost unit, obviously, because he's going to use all your current gold. But based off the amount of gold that you use is going to change what he does, which is kind of awesome, admittedly. So the more gold you spend, the greater size he gains, as well as power, based on the amount of gold that you spent. So the stronger he is going to be based off the amount of gold. Now, if you need a quick unit, you can drop him for a 1 gold. If you need a super powerful unit and you have a ton of gold and you're, sort of leading the gold control game, summon him for a lot more gold and make him way stronger. So that's awesome. And then you can see the health range is either 850 to 3,770. So even more if you use max gold, assumingly, than Onu. Now it increases on a 1.18 times scale, and the damage goes from 60 to 267, again at a 1.18 times scale. The damage type is physical and a single target, so a lot of physical damage, except for Scenario so far with the Elemental. And he is a single target unit. It looks like almost all of them are. And then attack cooldown is 2.7, and then melee range. His range is melee, and he goes at movement speed of 2, which is, again, on the medium side. So what are his talents? I'm so glad you asked. So the first one is called Sapling. When it plays for 4 gold or less, gains 50% increased movement speed. So if you need a little zippy boy, Ancient of War can do that if you use him for 4 gold or less. The next one is Behemoth. So if played for 6 gold or more, gains siege damage. Now again, this is a flexible unit, but his talents are going to sort of I don't want to say lock you in, but help guide you in a certain direction. Now, again, even though if you use the Behemoth talent, you're not going to have that all the time. So keep that in mind. A lot more strategy is going to be coming with this unit because you can still summon him for a cheap 1 cost, but if you have Behemoth activated, you're not even using a talent at that point. So I could see this being a double-edged sword for him. But again, if you need a quick little defense, you could drop him for 1. But if you really want to try to take a tower and build a push or whatever, then obviously you need to get him for 6 gold or more. Last but not least is Lightning Rod, and this one's kind of interesting. So redirect enemy unbound deploys to current location. So Ancient of War and Onu are both controlling unbound units from the enemy teams. So Onu doesn't allow your enemies to spawn your unbound units on him, and Ancient of War, if you have the talent Lightning Rod, it makes it so all unbound units have to spawn on him. Now that is interesting, and it says only enemy unbound units, so you can literally put him in the middle of nowhere, beef him up, like let's say you use all 10 gold, right, and just make him a big beefy boy. Then you can actually control and have this massive tank that demands everyone summoning on him that are using unbound units. Now Maeve is over in the corner right now just crying because she's like, oh no, I'm in danger. But again, that's so sick. I think this is gonna be super fun. I can't wait to utilize him. For a mini that has this much flexibility, I think there's so many cool decks you can make around all 3 talents. So this is probably gonna be one that I try to get to epic sooner rather than later to truly unlock all 3 of those talents because he's pretty sick. Now we have the Bog Beast. Now we fought against him before, right? We fought against him in other stages of the game. Now let's talk about what he does. So he's a pretty straightforward tank. Now you notice that all of these units are basically tanky, right, so far. But he is the main tank with a talent that can be increase his survivability and introduce some fun synergies. So let's see what that does for his talents. His talents is Flourish. So heal receives are 30% more effective. So he receives 30% more heals when he is healed if he has his talent. Pretty interesting. So if you want to just use him, and again, he's a 3 gold cost with 100 HP. Let me move my camera back down here. 3 gold cost for 1k HP, 165 damage, physical single target, attack 2.5 cooldown, range is melee, and he moves at slow pace, which is 1.5. So he only costs 3, but is a pretty tanky unit at 1,000 health. That's actually kind of insane. And again, so with this first talent is Flourish, you can actually get more effective heals with him. The next one is Living Wood, so gain armor until 50% health. So he gains armor until his HP drops to 50% health, and then he loses it. It's kind of a mixed bag for me on this one. It's hard to say if I feel like this will be good or not, because I think that it's going to be very situational. Now, if you have a healer with him and you can keep him topped up until he gets that armor all the time and he doesn't drop below 50% health very, very quickly, then yeah, this will be phenomenal. Like imagine him with Cenarius, where keep him and Cenarius together. He's the tank for a 3 cost. You got a 5 cost here. I mean, you're living the dream at that point, right? So I think this is going to be a very situational talent, but let's continue. So the last one is Rampant Growth, which is on death, root nearby enemies for 6 seconds. So when he dies, only a 3 cost, when he dies, he's going to root everyone around him for 6 seconds. Unclear as to how big that circle will be, but 6 seconds is a very long time. Keep in mind, Cenarius was only rooting people for 3 seconds, and he's doubling that at a 3 cost, and he's not a leader. So pretty phenomenal mini, in my opinion. Honestly, I don't even know if I were to be asked which one is better so far between Ancient of War and Bog Beast. I have no idea. I think they're both so incredibly unique in their own ways, and I'm very excited to use both of them. Now, we have a fan favorite here, which is the Moonkin. Now, again, I have played World of Warcraft with my wife for years now, up until we had kids and we couldn't make raids anymore, and now I'm playing awesome games like Warcraft Rumble with my own kids now, which is just such a cool full circle. So Moonkin is a 4-cost deploy. Health is 450, so a little bit on the squishy, not even that squishy realistically. I mean, he's kind of midway there. Single target damage is 140. AoE damage is 75. Damage type elemental. Cooldown is 1.5 seconds. Range is 8, which is pretty good, actually. Movement speed is 2, which is medium. So he will alternate between casting a single target spell and a AoE spell, which is why you see the 2 different ones. Obviously, it makes a little sense that the single target does more damage than the AoE, but still not bad damage overall. Let's see. Let's look at the talents for the Boomkin. So, now I call him Boomkin. I just realized that it is Moonkin. I am very used to Boomkins. Now, first talent is Vengeance. Taking damage increases casting speed by 50% for 5 seconds, which is awesome. Taking damage increases casting speed by 50%. So as he takes damage, he will just get a quick little buff to increase the casting speed. So he will just go, and it'll just be sick. And that's actually the damage sound that you'll hear in game is. All right, just to clarify, so you all know what I'm talking about. So the next talent is Moonglow, which is after deploying, your next spell gains 2 levels. So he, as a mini, is basically better than Jaina, who is a leader. Now, he does cost 1 more than Jaina, but the Jaina has that talent that I use all the time, where you drop Jaina and then immediately you do like an execute, and it's like 1 level stronger. Well, Moonkin does it even better, which is pretty sick to think about, honestly. And then last but not least, we have Typhoon. So on deploy, knock back nearby enemies. So if you're dropping him in a hot drop situation, now he is not a unbound unit, so I will clarify with that. But again, you could drop him on Onu and then push back anyone that is near the circle. So there's a lot of versatility with all of these minis. And honestly, I think I can't wait. I don't know which one I like the best. I think Moonkin obviously makes sense for a DPS spec for this class, but man, and by the way, I'm just, for the record, I will be calling him Boopkin forever. So I'm sorry in advance. Okay, last but not least, I do want to sort of cover the changes that are coming with the new class in Season 7. Now, again, all of this is dropping on the 10th of July. So all in all, obviously, we're getting a brand new way of doing, we're getting a new campaign. Now, as such, because we have more types of units now, or new family bonuses, they're going to be changing how you can complete your heroic mission. So if you've already cleared them, you know that you have to beat it with every single class, which is fine. But now they're making it so you have to just use 5 classes. So because you have more than 5 classes available to you, you can use the new Cenarian family as one of these. It just will get its own little star. So it still has to be 5 different ones, but you get to choose them instead of having to do what was the current 5. All right, and then right here you can see that you still need, all 25 of 25. It just doesn't matter which one you're using, so it's not tied to anything there, and you still get your reward, if you will. You can see that over here in PvP, there'll be a new section added that allows us to, of course, get those bonuses like you normally would for any of their families, which is sick. Now that we have 6, and you can see the Cenarian family tomes there. You get tomes as well, as you normally would for the other families. So all in all, guys, I think this update is by far the biggest that has come to Warcraft Rumble. Usually we get 1 mini or leader every season, and this one is literally giving us 5. 2 leaders, 3 minis, new campaign. It's just, I can't wait to jump straight into it. And keep in mind, guys, this comes out on July 10th. I can't wait to cover it for you with so many more videos coming your way. If you guys enjoy it and want to be a part of it with me, make sure you download Warcraft Rumble totally for free. Now, keep in mind, all of this content that I just shared with you is totally for free, and there will even be new events that come out with this to help us unlock the new heroes and leaders. So if that is enticing to you, make sure you download Warcraft Rumble in the link in the description. And once again, thank you so much to Warcraft Rumble for sponsoring today's video and the overall channel. Because, guys, I love this game. I'm passionate about it, and I am honored to be working with them for it. So I hope to see you guys in the battlefield soon. And without further ado, I hope you have a good day.